Welcome to Lesson 2. Having completed the initial application and assessment in Lesson 1, we're now moving into the heart of the process, structuring your debt for affordability. This lesson focuses on how your debt counselor negotiates with creditors and navigates the process, including potential court applications if needed. It's all about building and formalizing your debt review plan, a critical step in securing your path to financial recovery. In this lesson, we will cover several key steps. We'll look at how accurate information about your debts is gathered using certificates of balance, and how this data is used to draft your proposed restructured payment plan. We'll then explore the crucial process of negotiating this plan with your credit providers. You'll understand when and why a court application might become necessary, and finally, the significance of the legal order that makes your debt counseling plan legally binding. These are all vital steps towards achieving your financial recovery. Let's quickly recap where we are. You've taken the brave step of applying for debt counseling. Your debt counselor has assessed your situation and issued the Form 16, confirming your over-indebtedness. Crucially, the Form 17.1 has been sent to your creditors and the credit bureaus, giving you that important initial legal protection against new legal action for the debts under review. Now, with that breathing space, your debt counselor is ready to build the actual, workable debt review plan tailored to your financial reality. The first step in building the plan, Step 4 of the debt review process, involves gathering accurate information. Your DC will request certificates of balance, or COBs, from all the credit providers listed in your application. As illustrated here, creditors are legally required to send these within a specific time frame, typically around 5 business days after they receive the Form 17.1 notification. These COBs are official documents that confirm the exact outstanding balances and current interest rates on each of your accounts. They are essential for your debt counselor. Accurate COBs are absolutely fundamental to the debt counseling process. As shown by the diagram, using correct figures from the start ensures that your debt review plan is built on a solid foundation and reflects the true state of your debts. This accuracy is vital to avoid disputes later on. Your debt counselor needs these precise balances and rates to propose realistic new repayment terms and interest rates during negotiations. It's a mandatory part of the NCA process and the bedrock upon which your restructured plan is built. Still within Step 4, your debt counselor now drafts your proposed repayment plan. They use the verified information from the certificate of balance, combined with your detailed income and essential expense assessment, to create a new structure for your debt. As depicted here, the main goal is to significantly reduce your total monthly debt payment to an amount you can genuinely afford after covering your essential living costs. This is typically achieved by proposing longer repayment terms for your loans or potentially negotiating lower interest rates on your unsecured debts. This is how your debt counseling plan becomes sustainable. The output of this drafting process is the proposed single, consolidated monthly payment amount. As you can see from this visual, instead of juggling multiple payments totaling, say, R$7,000, your DC proposes one amount, perhaps R$3,000, that fits comfortably into your budget after all essential expenses are covered. This amount is calculated specifically based on what you can afford, making the debt counseling process manageable for you. It's a key element designed to facilitate your long-term financial recovery in South Africa. Once the proposed plan is drafted, it is formally sent to your credit providers. This marks the beginning of the negotiation phase with the credit providers. Your debt counselor sends this detailed proposal to all the creditors involved in your debt review. As the diagram shows, the ball is then in their court. They review the proposed new payment terms, interest rates, and repayment periods that your DC has outlined. This formal submission initiates the crucial period of seeking agreement on your debt counseling plan. Step 5 involves receiving feedback from your credit providers. After reviewing the proposed plan, they respond to your debt counselor with their decision or any counter proposals. As shown, this feedback is often provided formally via a Form 17.2, known as the Response by Credit Provider to Application for Debt Review. Your debt counselor receives and carefully evaluates each of these responses from your different creditors to understand their position on your proposed debt review plan. Credit providers can respond to the proposed plan in a few ways. As illustrated by these paths, they might accept the proposal fully, agreeing to all the terms. Alternatively, they might reject the proposal but make a counter-proposal, suggesting alternative terms that they would find acceptable. Finally, they could reject the proposal entirely without offering any alternatives. It's quite common in debt counseling to receive a variety of these responses from different creditors. If, ideally, all your credit providers accept the proposed plan, or if they counter-propose and you and your DC agree to those counter-proposals, the debt counseling process moves relatively quickly towards formalization. As shown in this flowchart, your DC can then apply to the magistrate's court for a consent order. This process is usually quicker than a full court application because everyone is already in agreement. A consent order makes your agreed-upon debt review plan legally binding on all parties. However, if even just one credit provider rejects the plan, or if your debt counselor cannot reach an agreement through negotiation, the process must move to step 6, the court application. As this diagram illustrates, the NCA legally requires your DC to refer the matter to court in such cases. This is not a sign of failure, but a standard part of debt counseling designed to ensure the process can continue and your restructured plan can be legally formalized, even if creditors initially object. It's how your debt review is protected. When a court application is necessary, your debt counselor prepares a formal submission for the magistrate's court or potentially the High Court. This application, as suggested by the visual, is a comprehensive document. It explains your financial situation in detail, highlighting why you are over-indebted. It justifies why the proposed restructured payment plan is fair and reasonable given your circumstances and addresses any specific objections raised by credit providers. The DC presents your case to the court. In the court application process, the court reviews the application prepared by your debt counselor. As shown here, the court considers the arguments presented by the DC and may also listen to arguments from any credit providers who are still objecting to the plan. Based on the evidence and arguments, the court ultimately issues a formal court order. This order is the legally binding document that defines your official debt review payment plan and terms. Step 7 is the issuing of the order, and it can take one of two forms, a consent order or a court order. As we saw, a consent order is issued if all parties agreed beforehand, typically a faster process. A court order is issued after a court application where there was initial disagreement. Crucially, regardless of which type is issued, both orders are legally binding. As shown side by side, they both formalize your restructured plan under the debt counseling process, making the terms enforceable for everyone. The significance of obtaining a legal order, either a consent order or a court order, cannot be overstated. As powerfully represented by the Shield, your restructured payment plan is now officially the law for the debts included in the order. Both you and all listed credit providers must adhere to the new terms. This provides you with extremely strong legal protection. Creditors can no longer pursue you for the original terms or take separate legal action for those debts. This legal backing solidifies your structured path to financial recovery. It's important to understand that going to court, if necessary, is not a negative outcome in the debt counseling process. It's a standard mechanism provided by the NCA. As shown by this graphic, it ensures that your debt review can proceed even if a specific creditor is uncooperative. The court acts as an impartial arbiter, ensuring the plan is fair and reasonable under the law. It guarantees a legally enforceable outcome, meaning the process continues to move forward towards your financial recovery, regardless of individual creditor objections during negotiation. Let's take a moment to reinforce your understanding of these core steps. Please access the interactive element for this lesson. You'll find a decision point poll asking about the necessary next step if a creditor rejects the proposed plan, testing your knowledge of the court referral process. There's also a short answer question asking you to explain why certificates of balance are so important. Engaging with these activities helps solidify your grasp of the crucial negotiation and formalization stages of the debt review process. Please take some time to jot down your responses to check your understanding. To summarize this key lesson, we learned that gathering accurate information via COBS is the essential starting point for drafting your plan. Your debt counselor uses this data to propose an affordable, restructured repayment plan tailored to your budget. This plan is negotiated with credit providers, who respond with feedback via Form 17.2. If full agreement isn't reached, a court application is a necessary part of the process. Finally, either a consent order or a court order is issued, making your debt counseling plan legally binding. These steps formalize everything we've discussed. Now that you have a legally binding restructured plan, you are ready for the next phase, making your actual payments. As the visual suggests, you will begin making your single monthly payment to the payment distribution agency, who will then distribute it according to your court order or agreed plan. This marks the start of the repayment period, continuing your disciplined path towards full financial recovery. Sticking to your repayment plan is the final step of getting your clearance certificate. Great work today. We thank you for trusting LearnYa Skills on your path to financial recovery. Be sure to visit www.learnyaskills.com and see what other real-life skills we have to offer.